what I wanted to talk about tonight because I've been slacking a little bit. I won't lie. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. Is I have not made my prediction video for. Sorry, let me get this queued up. I have not made my prediction video on how I think our games are going to go this weekend with the semifinal of how Indiana is playing in its first semifinal. Miami's playing in its first semifinal in a while. Like, if you like, how do I even word this? If you like just like fresh blood, you know what I mean? Like, you like new teams in there. You don't like the typical teams that have usually been in this thing. Like, oh boy, are you in for a treat? And I bet you're, cheering and, you think it's awesome and amazing because, yeah, no, it is four brand new teams that we have not seen in a while. I mean, we've seen Oregon in the dance before. I mean, hell sakes, they went to the first national championship in the new college playoff era. Because, I mean, I think there's going to be two eras that we talk about when it's all said and done. One of the eras is obviously the college football playoff era, but then the NIL portal era, because we could throw it back and we could go back to the BCS days, but I don't I don't think people want that. And actually, with how it is, like if this was the BCS era and we were still living in those times, there's parts of me that think who would because we know Indiana would have gone as the one seed, but who's that two seed that goes? Because I think after the Big Ten championship, it probably would have been Georgia. Now that I'm thinking about it, because Georgia was the three seed, or were they the four seed? No, because Texas Tech was the four seed. But it probably would have been Georgia versus Indiana because they would have dropped Ohio State down, and then we would have had our that would have been the BCS national championship, like BCS. But our final four, if we went by the old metric, obviously Indiana's in there, Texas Tech is in there, Georgia's in there, but then that final team, it's either gonna be Texas A&M or it's going to be Ohio State. I don't think they would have let Ole Miss be it, considering that Lane Kiffin wasn't their coach, and I don't know. But either ways, long story short, to get back around to it, one thing that I have not done yet is I have not given my thoughts and my reactions or prediction to who I think is going to win the playoff and stuff. Like I gave my personal whatchamacallit. I gave my prediction a while ago, and one thing that I had is I had Indiana meeting up with Georgia in the national championship. And well, after what we saw at the Rose Bowl, I do think, and I'm not crazy for thinking this, I think Indiana might have a team that can compete with anybody, and especially an SEC team. Even though we joke and we go, no, 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 the SEC is supreme, baby. Nobody can compete with these guys. They're the best of the best. Well, as we saw what happened last weekend, Indiana put up how many points? And how many points did Alabama put up? So that's my reaction to that. It was a good game. Excuse me. It was a good game for the most part. But then I think something that can't be ignored is after Ty Simpson took that hit, which by the way he is also declared for the NFL draft, which we could talk about that sometime in this show. But after he took that hit, he wasn't the same. And he just didn't look the same. Out there he was wobbling around, and I mean it was a ribs injury, and then he ended up just medically being benched. I think that's the wordage that they had for it, which, you know what, it is what it is. We don't make those decisions. Um, but I think one thing that can't be ignored is even with how good he could have played for the second half, the thing that can't be denied is in the first half, Indiana was getting after it. And Indiana was controlling the line of scrimmage. And we saw, because it was talked about coming into the game, is can Alabama run the ball? And they were not able to run the ball. And I think some other things to talk about too, a little bit, is these star players that needed to show up for Bama didn't, unfortunately. Um, but it's a lot to expect um, your back, excuse me, your backup quarterback to come in there and try to will the team to a win, considering they were down by, gosh, after the fumble. So there was the fumble hit, and then Mendoza hit Surratt right there. Did that extend it to 21-3, or 28-3? Like, I do know that Bama took the lead 3-0, but then Mendoza just came right back. Decker was the first touchdown to make it 7-3, but again, this thing wasn't close. This was a nasty game. This was ugly. But yeah. So all this being said, again, because I've been yapping and rambling a little bit too long, one thing that we got to talk about that I think we should bring up. Where's my bingo? Bingo was his name. Oh, okay. We got to talk about who I think is going to win these games coming up, because we got some big games coming up, people, and we got to talk about them. And I think one team that is really scaring me, and I could kind of see it at the beginning of the season. No. A little bit at the beginning of the playoffs was Oregon. And then with how much momentum, because I did talk about this in a stream before, with the momentum that Miami is going to have coming off of an Ohio State win, if they do get the Ohio State win, I'd be a little nervous if I was a Rebels fan. But I wouldn't be too nervous considering how well Ole Miss just played as a team, considering what they were down by in the Georgia game and the fact that they were able to come back. Trinidad, had a phenomenal game. Their kicker, clutch, just the risky play calling at the end of the game to get them in field goal scoring range. Like, I mean, they had to go the length of the field. They had under a minute. The fact that their defense was able to get a stop, like that's another thing that's going to be forgotten as we move on and we keep going, is Ole Miss was able to get a stop there in the red zone. Georgia was marching. They could have scored a touchdown, but Ole Miss said, no, we're good. And then they stopped them with their defense. So with as much momentum as Ole Miss and Miami have both met, okay, we have an unstoppable force and an immovable object. Who's going to win? I think, you know what, because of how much we've doubted Ole Miss, what a perfect time for them to be like, hey, we got one more for you. I'm going to be honest, I did not pick the Rebels in this. I picked Miami. And the reason why I'm going to roll with Miami is something I don't know how they're going to do it, but there's parts of me, considering where we are now, I will admit in the Georgia Ole Miss prediction, I had the Dogs. And then Georgia against Miami, I was thinking, you know, what better to have Carson Beck against his former team. And then his former team gets the better of him. This, I would say, Miami's defense is riding really high right now. And I would say you could throw Indiana in this list as well, especially Oregon after the Texas Tech win the other day in the Orange Bowl. The best defenses are winning ball games right now, and that's the most important thing as we get into the playoff is offense. Obviously, your whole team has to be healthy. Your offense has to keep things going and playing fundamental football, but in turn, they have to accompany each other with a solid defense. And right now, I mean, if you want to look at it statistically, the best defense right now is Oregon, considering they came off of a shutout. Indiana would be a close second with 3 points. But Ole Miss, no, because look how many points they gave up to Georgia. But I think the shutout that Oregon did is impressive, and it's something to look forward to when we have this rematch between Oregon and Indiana. But anyways, back to what I was talking about with Ole Miss and Miami. With just how that game ended, and with how Miami played with their food a little bit against Ohio State. They let the Buckeyes get back into that 14-17 before the long drive where they chewed up some clock and then scored a last-second touchdown and then sealed the game with Julian Stain's second interception. The defensive front, They were able to get after the Buckeyes, and that is exactly what's going to have to happen against Ole Miss. Because actually, let's pull up the stats. I don't actually know the stats off the top of my head, people. I want to look at where's ESPN. Let's go to ESPN. Hey, the Spurs beat the Lakers. Is anybody shocked about that? No. Where I want to know how many turnovers. This is, hey, we'll probably talk about this too. We can talk about a lot of football stuff going on. Yeah, apparently he signed a contract but then hit the portal, which, yo. Welcome to a new cool college football world where the SEC is no longer the undisputed king. Oh, yeah, they're going to run with that too forever. Because, the SEC is not king of college football anymore. One of the teams in the Final Four is still in the SEC. Okay, here we go. Ole Miss. Stats. I want to know if, because, again, I didn't watch. Oh, this is actually really promising. Trinidad doesn't turn the ball over much. Let's see where those 3 interceptions were. I would guess, see y'all. I guess one of them's in the Georgia game. Look at that. Nope, not in the Georgia game. In the LSU game, in the South Carolina game, and in the Florida game. The other thing, too, that kind of turned me off a little bit from Ole Miss is how close this freaking game was right here. Like, I knew they got the big win against LSU, and it's like, all right, cool. But then Washington, who at the time I think only had 2 wins. Like, Washington literally had nothing to lose. They came in there, and it went all the way. Like, Washington had a lead at 1 point. Where was Washington's lead? Washington led 14-10. I guess they never led for more. I thought this thing went down to the 4th quarter. Yeah, whatever. I thought they had a bigger lead. I thought it was 21-10 at one point, or 21-14. But then they ended up... Anyways, like this... I remember this game looked like it was filmed on a potato. Like, this side camera here was better than the actual broadcast camera. Like, that's how bad some of it was. But... okay, that actually answers my question that I had about, hey, does Trinidad turn the ball over? Looks like he doesn't. But we'll see how Miami's defense can get after it. I think there's parts of me too, even though like I will give Golden credit for beating Georgia and Tulane. There's parts of me that. And a lot of coaches have said it, so I don't think it's something to ignore. But when we get this late in the playoffs, but something that is underappreciated is all of a sudden now, because of what Indiana has done and been able to turn around their football program, we're giving so much credit to Kirk Cignetti and how, oh my gosh, he's a great coach. Look at this program. Look how successful this program is. But then in the same breath, like we're giving praise to Golden, obviously because he's winning. But at the same time, we're not showing a little bit of concern from like, okay, yes, Ole Miss has won 2 playoff games, but it's like we're giving no credit to Lane Kiffin for helping them go 11-1 in the regular season. Like we've just already written it off, slammed the door of like, fetch him, who cares? But like, it's kind of like, I think. Coaching will still matter, and like I don't know. Call me crazy. There's parts of me that think when you look at who is left, out of Cignetti, Lanning, Cristobal, and Golden, obviously the best one to start their resume is Golden because, I mean, being thrown in the situation that he was, where hey, you got to pick up this team after rivalry week. And you got to get them ready in a month to go play Tulane. And then if you beat Tulane, you got to go play Georgia, which you played them in the regular season and lost. I mean, I will give him credit on that. But, like, there's something that tells me, yes, he had been around the team just as long because he's been there all year. But I would be curious, and people who probably follow Ole Miss football in and out, they do know because they've seen the interviews and the post game comments and stuff. But of all the games that they played, whether it was the LSU game at home, the South Carolina game, the Georgia game, even down to the Florida game, and gosh, who else? They played Oklahoma? Yeah, they played Oklahoma and they beat Oklahoma, which I thought the Sooners would win. So I've been sleeping on Ole Miss all year. Now I feel like a doofus for it. But in these close wins that they did win, how many of them did come down to Lane Kiffin's play calling, or like his ability, or the coaching staff's ability to notice something and make a change for, okay, these are some defensive things that we have to change. This is what we got to change in the offense. We got to ditch the run game. Let's go back to the pass game, or let's throw things out in the flat. Like, where were examples of that? And maybe people can be like, oh, it was every single week because they won 11 games. But like, where is one game or multiple games where we can pinpoint exactly, okay, Lane Kiffin helped them win this game? You see what I'm trying to mean and what I'm trying to say? And so again, team chemistry, because I don't think you can just turn it on like a light switch. I do think team chemistry goes a long way, and the communication and trust between the offensive coordinator, the head coach, and the quarterback. I mean, there's something where the experience of being with them all year, I do think has a bigger impact than, okay, this is our second game together. I don't know. I could be wrong because, again, Golden was on the defensive side of the football. He wasn't the offensive coordinator. So that's what I would lean to a little bit for advantage of Miami, because there hasn't been as much drama, not as much news and stuff. And there's just parts of me that, I don't know. I've been sleeping on Ole Miss all year, and then I'm not gonna switch up all of a sudden and be like, oh yeah, I've been rooting on the Rebels all this time. I don't know. I don't know. I sound stupid for picking Miami, but I am. I don't know. I think coaching matters, and I think there are going to be some play calls where they got to be gutsy here. And with how early it is into Golden's time as the head coach of Ole Miss, I don't know what he's going to call up. And I don't know if, considering all the clutch gene that every quarterback had, I don't think this is going to be a low scoring, Trinidad comes in here, Lacey comes in here, the offense comes in here, and they do absolutely nothing. No, we saw how many points they put up against Tulane and Georgia. I think this is going to be more on the fact of, okay, which defense breaks first, which is exactly the point that I'm going to make too in this semifinal game up here with Oregon and Indiana, because I don't think, with what we saw with what happened with Texas Tech's offense, 4 turnovers. Let's not forget there was 4 turnovers in that game. I don't see a shutout happening again. I really don't. I think we've gotten so far into the year where defenses aren't shutting teams out like they did all season, like the Ohio State but you know what? Actually, though, as I say this, I think to myself though, Texas A&M put up a lot of points. Miami held them to 3. Ohio State put up a lot of damn points all year. Miami's defense held them to 14. Ole Miss has put up some points all year. Maybe Miami's defense holds Ole Miss to 24 points. 3 touchdowns and a field goal. 4 field goals and 2 touchdowns. I don't know. Maybe they do. And of course, everybody's going to talk about Bain Jr. and him being a huge impact in this game, which I think he will. But there's more guys on that defense than just him. So now that I'm saying it out loud, I sound like a doofus going, oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of points. But then after I say how many points that Miami was able to hold these teams to, I don't know. If Miami does exactly what they did to Ohio State, where they come out and they punch Ole Miss in the mouth and get a scoop and score or a pick 6, I do definitely think that Ole Miss could recover, because I mean, at one point you watched it in the Georgia game. They came back, and then that fourth quarter was a wild one. But just I don't know. There's just parts of me. I will say this too, and I'm trying not to be biased when I say this. Of all the Ole Miss games that I watched this season, I will admit that I watched the LSU one a little bit, but LSU, Oklahoma, Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma, Georgia, and Georgia. I've only watched 4 Ole Miss games all season, but in turn, Miami, I've watched. Let me pull it up here. Let me show y'all. Let me show y'all the Miami games that I've seen this year. I mean, I watched the Notre Dame game where they won. And again, that was at the very beginning of the season. So again, keep in mind 4 games. I've only watched 4 games of Ole Miss. But then out of Miami, I watched this game. I watched this game because of this game. This game had a lot of, I mean, a lot of hype behind it. Saw the highlights to this one. Didn't actually watch it all the way through. I saw this game. Watched the highlights of this. Watched the second half of this game. And that, because then after the 2 losses, I didn't focus on them as much because I was more focused back on Oklahoma and, hey, can Oklahoma make a run here? Try to get to, and then also to ASU, and what was ASU doing at the time? I don't think, and I watched this Pitt game. I don't think. Did I watch the Virginia? I think I watched a little bit of this Virginia Tech game because this was the Virginia Tech game that Franklin was at, so it was promoted a little more. But again, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7-ish games that I watched Miami. But then Ole Miss, I can only say with confidence I watched 3. So I've watched Ole Miss a little more, and so I'm a little more, not confidence, not the word, but like bias of being like, okay, I've watched more Miami games, so I'm a little bit more comfortable picking Miami because, I mean, I watched more Georgia games than I did Ole Miss, which is kind of half the reason why I felt more comfortable picking Georgia. But then also, I mean, I thought, because that's not what the outcome was. Like, I thought Gunnar Stockton had a little bit of a better season than Trinidad. I thought Georgia's defense was better than Ole Miss's. I'm going to take Kirby Smart as a better coach than Golden. But boy, all that was just thrown out the window, and Ole Miss doesn't care. So, now, let's go. Let's go here. Let's talk Oregon and let's talk Indiana. Now, I made a joke. Here, let me take a swig real quick. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Hope y'all are enjoying the stream. Be sure to hit that like button. All right, let's get back into it. Ooh, thoughts on the Desmond Williams drama. I I think it's a I don't know. We'll wait till everything comes out. But right now, I don't think this is the first time a player's committed to a school, got money, and then decommitted. I don't think this is the first time for that. Now, for Washington to go back after him illegally, makes me think, okay, the money's been paid already. Because I don't know if this is actually 1,000% factual. Do not quote me on this. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think some of the NILs that have happened, I think they spread it out. I don't think they just do the guaranteed money all up front like an NFL contract. Like, I think they actually, okay, if we're going to pay you $500,000, we're going to split it up, into the 9 months that they are during the NFL season. I don't think they just dump it all at once, but I could be wrong. But I'm thinking if if he if he signed, money got paid, and then he hit the portal, then that's pretty not good, not a good look. And if anything, he's only hurting himself because at the end of the day, NFL GMs, NFL coaches, NFL owners, they're going to be like, oh, so are you going to pull this move when we eventually take you in the sixth round, in the fifth round, when it's your time to declare for the draft? Like, I haven't talked about it and I haven't made a stream in a while about it, but I think one thing I touched up on a little bit with, oh, phew, good. I had to look down and make sure that I wasn't muted because there have been a handful of streams where I've been muted and just talking and nobody in the chat tells me I'm muted. But you look at Nico Iamaleava and what happened with the Tennessee situation where he went to UCLA. Considering Arnold went from Oklahoma to Auburn. Mateer went from Washington State to Oklahoma. Like, quarterbacks have transferred out. I don't remember what started. It was a dispute about money, and it was during the spring. Yes, it was during spring ball, right before the spring game, which is what got everybody to talk about it. I think, even though it's already happened, and UCLA's season went the way that it did, if Nico does end up getting drafted, it's going to follow him. Like, that decision of going throughout the winter portal, not leaving Tennessee, and then waiting until there was a contract dispute. And then, because I think this school was going to pay him $2 million, but $2 million wasn't enough, and so then he ended up, jumping into the portal. Like, I think that might be the full story. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but that is going to follow him, just like how this Williams situation might follow him if he gets in the situation where he can be drafted. And the only reason why I say that is because I think now more than ever, I think what all ownerships, coaches, GMs, I think what they want is loyalty. Of, you're here as a rookie, can you fulfill your rookie contract? And we're not seeing it because we've come to the wild, wild west of college football where there is no moderation to it, and there is no. I made a video. I haven't edited it yet, so a little sneak peek. I made a video on, I think it is reported, which in fact, let's have some fun and let's go look if that is actually factual, which I can close out of this. I have a couple tabs open. Let's go here. I think there are, what's what I'm looking for? Transfer number of players. So look at that. It's already the top. Holy shit, the number's gotten even bigger. Damn. So, Pat McAfee made a video on it, and he talked about it a little bit in his stream. But when he talked about it, he said there was only a little over 2,000, 3,000 around there, but now there's 4,000 players. But again, it's, read it what you want and, make your judgment off of that. But there's 4,000 players in the portal. And I think not Indiana. Look at what happened to Iowa State, because somebody made a meme about it. I want to say 10 players, including quarterback Rocco Becht, went from Iowa State to Penn State, which I do not blame them. They're following Campbell because, again, what I'm noticing more now is athletes are not committing to the universities; they're committing to the coaches. And if Campbell, for example, with Becht, and same thing, because look at this cat right here. he's following his coach to Oklahoma State. You can't hate on that, like, because if anything, I mean it kind of makes sense. And funny enough, Rocco Becht, this guy, Mateer as well. The funny thing is, a lot of these college quarterbacks, they have had more time together with their offensive coordinator than Baker Mayfield did in his 8 years as an NFL quarterback. Go look at the stats. Rookie year, first year, all the way till now, he has not had the same offensive coordinator till I think this year was the second year. Like, it's always been a different head coach and a different coordinator every single year. Because for the first handful of years that he was in Cleveland, his head coach got fired. Both of his head coaches in Carolina got fired. Went to the Rams for a cup of coffee and was under McVay for a little bit, and then went to Tampa. So his whole career, always new coaches. And anyways, but the point I'm trying to make here, with transfer portal, I lost my train of thought. I don't even know what brought it up. But like the thing about like the paying players, and with Washington going after Williams, because they might have paid him, like there is no regulation, and I think it's probably just gonna keep going until they start making rules on it. And with the fact that, yes, because I was talking about like these decisions will probably be asked during NFL draft interviews and the processes of that, because I mean, yeah, there are 4,000 different individual athletes in the portal, and I don't know, I'd say half of them, whenever their senior year's up or they decide to declare early, funny enough, they'll look at the track record and they'll be like, oh, so you were at this school, and this school. Tell me why, what made you hop universities? Because gone are the days of you stayed at that one school, you played for 4 years. Gone are those days. Which I've seen the memes about, like Mac Jones, and showing the difference from him as a freshman to as a senior when he won Saban's last national championship. Which I think it's an unwritten art form that is gone too, is developing players. Because again, I don't blame colleges for paying their athletes, and I don't blame athletes for leaving to get better playing time with the coach that actually played them, because you left with him to go to the same school and you're getting paid. I talked about this in my other sports stream. Sorsby from Cincinnati, he's getting paid $5 million. You be in the same exact position as Sorsby is. You tell Texas Tech, no, $5 million, I'm good, I'll stay here. See what I mean? Like, it's a business decision, and I don't blame athletes for doing it. Can't believe Trae Young got traded to the Wizards. Who even wants to play for them? Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later, because I did need to make. That was going to be part of this stream too. Is I was going to check up on. We're going to look at the NBA standings. I wanted to do NBA standings. I wanted to talk about my prediction on semifinal. Maybe we could even do NHL standings too. Like, we're just gonna do kind of a run-of-the-mill sports stream, kind of like how we did. Okay, but back to business. All this being said, let's come back around and let's talk about Indiana versus Oregon. I think this game has the makings of, remember how at the time we didn't look at it this way until the season was over. Anybody remember when Ohio State and Georgia played each other? And how, because Georgia won and then they played TCU and it was an absolute blowout against TCU, people were like, well, this was actually the real national championship. That's the same feeling I have with this game. Is because if Indiana wins and then they go play Ole Miss and then Indiana blows out Ole Miss, or Oregon blows out Ole Miss, or Indiana blows out Miami, like, this is the national championship. And arguably, it was the best regular season game. Other big regular season games that I can think of are Georgia-Bama, when Alabama won. Texas-Ohio State. But you're not crowning a game the national championship week 0. Like, no. But the Oregon-Indiana game determined and declared, like, a lot of standings for the Big Ten and who was going to go. Like, it's the reason Oregon didn't go, because they lost. Other big games that happened in the regular season that did have longing impact. I'm talking not with just how big the game was, but also like the enjoyment of it too. Because when Texas played Oklahoma, that was a big game too. But like Oklahoma, it was a rough game. But Penn State, Oregon was a big game. Ohio State, Michigan was a big game. I'm trying to think. BYU, Utah was a big game. I don't remember if the Tennessee, Oklahoma was a big game. But off the top of my head, the point I'm trying to make is this was arguably one of the biggest games of the regular season, because Indiana didn't play Ohio State. They didn't play Michigan. Oregon didn't play Ohio State or Michigan in the regular season. And so the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed, and the 4 seed, they never played each other all year until like this actually happened. And so, yeah, there was no Ohio State, Indiana in the middle of the year to set the table for when they ended up meeting up in the Big Ten championship. Like, this was the real deal, the big one. And I think, I think it's going to be another big one. And I think both quarterbacks are very competent in like how they play. I think, and I've kind of been holding on to this too all season. Like Dan Lanning talking about how Dante Moore is the best quarterback in the nation, and you can't ignore. Everybody's already forgotten it, which is okay, fine, whatever. But what Oregon did in the regular season, beating Penn State, beating Iowa, beating Wisconsin, beating Washington, keeping it close with Indiana, because at the time only Indiana fans can say that they were, I'll only listen to Indiana fans. Dude, nobody thought Indiana was beating Oregon. Nobody did. But because it was kind of the same feeling too with the USC Oregon game, where it's like they're not going to go into Autzen Stadium and win, but they did. They kept it close in the first half. Indiana was running the ball with ease. Oregon could not stop it, and then Mendoza was putting the ball in just phenomenal spot switch. In fact, let's see if we can pull up some stuff. Pull up some stuff and talk about it. I think they met. What week did they meet? It was in. There it is. Yep, week 7, 30-20. Now again, they pulled away in the fourth quarter, but like, look at some of the stats here. And the other thing, Moore had 2 interceptions, but like, pretty equal. Like, this wasn't a crazy this was a game that where was this? Oh yeah, there's the switch right there. The Surratt, yep, Surratt's touchdown, and then the field goal, yep. That kind of just, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the middle here, Oregon's possession, I think that's when Moore threw the interception. If I'm not mistaken, there was a turnover somewhere in there. But so that's when they fought back, taking the lead. Because again, this was the interception that I was like, okay, this is where Oregon just had a pick 6. They got themselves back into this game, 20-20. They're going to win it. But then Mendoza's like, nope, let's go back shoulder right here. And then, yeah, phenomenal apps. Like this was one hell of a game. One hell of a game. But what else do we have here? Is this, yeah, the pick six to even it out. And then how long? Because again, I don't remember. Interception, 2020, touchdown. How long? 12 plays. Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. Nope. Look at this. Yes. They chewed up 6 minutes of game clock. Made it 27. They, yep, more through the interception, kicked the field goal off of it. And again, look at the time of possession. 4 minutes, 6 minutes. That's 10 minutes. That is 10 minutes out of a 15-minute fourth quarter. Yes. It started to dwindle there at the very end of the game. I don't remember. We'll see. It was a damn good game. I'm excited for the rematch. I don't think it. One thing that I don't think this will have any huge implications with is draft stock, or like who's going to go where in the draft, because I think the quarterbacks are pretty much picked out, because I think the draft order now, I think the Raiders have the number 1 pick. I think, oh, okay, let's pull back up. I don't remember who has the number 2 pick. Whoever, if it's the Giants, they're not drafting a quarterback because they already have a quarterback. Here we go. All right. Oh, yes. Well, Raiders are 1. Cardinals. So we got the Cardinals. We got the Cardinals, the Titans, the Jets, the Raiders, the Giants, Washington, Cleveland, New Orleans, Kansas. And then Kansas is talking about getting a running back this year. But I think either way, whoever wins this game, regardless, like I do think Mendoza, like if Mendoza and the Hoosiers win, it's like you're the national champion, Big Ten champion, Heisman winner. Like that's got number 1 draft pick written all over it. Because it was the same thing for when Caleb Williams won the Heisman, and then he ended up being the number 1 pick. Trevor Lawrence winning the national championship and being the number 1 pick. Like, yeah. Okay. But anyways, back to it. This is going to surprise a couple people, which totally fine with that. This is who I have winning this game. Oh, come on. Work for me. I have Oregon. And the reason why I have Oregon is because I think that, again, I've watched a lot of Indiana football and I've watched a lot of Oregon football. And right now there's something that tells me it's a little too perfect. The whole undefeated year, Heisman winner, Big Ten winner. Like, we haven't seen a true number 1. Never mind. Because what about Michigan? Yeah, that breaks my theory wide open. Michigan, Georgia. Now that I'm saying it out loud, Michigan, Georgia, Clemson. But again, I don't know. There's parts of me, with the fact that they have played each other, and Oregon knows how to beat Indiana, and Indiana, like, there's just parts of me where it's like, okay, they get a little bit of revenge. I don't like it. It feels icky to predict this, because right now, because everybody's already crowned it. Like right now, the national championship is Indiana's to lose. Like, that's how like impactful the Rose Bowl win against Alabama was. Is, oh, good, you took down the dynasty, Bama. Okay, whoo, phew. You guys are the next ones in line. But I mean, I don't think Bama is the same without Saban, and so I'm trying not to look at it in that kind of same light where, like, the dynasty stopped after Saban left. At least that's the way I look at it. But I mean, you ask any Alabama Tide fan how they feel about DeBoer, they're pissed either way. But um, I think I think there's a lot of pressure for Indiana. I think um, there's a lot of pressure for Indiana. There's a lot riding on this game, and personally for me, I think this, because when this game happens, I still think this will be a better game than the national championship itself if this is who it ends up being, or if it's, you know, the Hoosiers against the Hurricanes or the Rebels against Oregon. Like I think this kind of has the same feelings towards the Buckeyes Georgia game where, or after this, and again, maybe we're blown away in the national championship and it's one of the best of all time and it's, you know, freaking amazing. But like last year, the national championship with Notre Dame and Ohio State, like it wasn't the best game out of the whole playoff. Like, yeah, it was the national championship, but I mean, Notre Dame, they let that game slip away from them at some point. So hopefully all the final three games are freaking amazing. But this is who I got, guys. I don't know who wins it. I want to say Oregon because a lot of me is riding on Oregon, and I'm being a Oregon homer. But Oregon has never won a national championship, so I'm a little worried with making that kind of prediction. And I mean, the other thing that I've seen is with some good games that I've seen out of Miami this year and bad games, like I've seen the overtime loss and then the loss to Louisville at home and then the walk-off loss to SMU, and I've also seen Carson Beck at his best and worst at Georgia. So like there's parts of me where it's like, oh my gosh, maybe Indiana will win this whole damn thing, because like I've seen weaknesses in all these teams, but I have not seen a weakness in Indiana yet. I haven't. So I kind of feel stupid for predicting them. But regardless, I will say this though. Whoever, and this is like my huge prediction, whoever wins this game is winning the national championship. That's what I'm trying to say. Is I don't know. I mean, now more than ever, considering that they've never won one, and they haven't won one in 25 years. Now more than ever would be a year for a team that hasn't won a national championship to win it and to win the whole damn thing. I'm riding with the Oregon Ducks though. Like I love the Oregon Ducks story, and they've been a fun team to watch. Like they've been a damn fun team. The other fun team to watch this year too was Texas A&M and Texas Tech. But we'll see, guys. Okay, let's go to the chat. I asked you guys who you got. 44% is leaning with Oregon. All right. I got Ole Miss to win it all. All right. What's up? How we all doing? So that is I know it's kind of like a quick out, guys, but that's going to be my thoughts and my reactions to the Final Four and the semifinal. Those are my predictions, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Be sure to hit the like button. Indiana, yeah, it's Indiana's to lose. It is literally Indiana's to lose, and that's what kind of concerns me a little bit with Indiana is like everybody's predicting, okay, Indiana's gonna win it, just like how everybody predicted Oregon to win it last year, and then what happened. So we'll see, because one thing that I will say about this game is I do think that Oregon's going to jump on top of Indiana first, and I could see the lead being like 10-3, 14-7, and the reason why I see that is because that's exactly what the lead was for Indiana against Oregon. Hoosiers caught them off guard with their run game, but wanted to make this stream and give this prediction and kind of talk about it, reminisce a little bit before the semifinal game, because I haven't made a video yet, but this was kind of the long gesture of like all my thoughts leading up to this game, because like when I make a video, it's not going to be a long 50-minute video. It's 15-minute stream. It's going to be a short 2 or 3 minute video, a little more concise with bulletin points of why this team will win, how much they could win by. Best offense, somewhere between best offense, probably Indiana or Ole Miss. Best defense, probably Oregon. It's between Oregon, Indiana, or best defense is probably Miami's. Now that I look at it, because actually, let's pull up some stats here again for the however manyth time. When you look at, because the number one team, the number one defense, it is the Hoosiers. Look at that. So, it was the Buckeyes, but the Buckeyes aren't even in it anymore. Then it's the Hoosiers, then it's Texas Tech, and then it's Miami, and then it's Oregon. So look at this. So when people say, hey, defense wins championships, there's merit behind that. There is reasons why people say that prediction. Because, wouldn't you look at that? The final team standing, boom, 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 and then Ole Miss is somewhere down here. Boom. Look at that. I don't know. And then for offense points, yeah, North Texas being number one, that makes sense. Hoosiers, yep. Hey, wouldn't you know? The team that put up 30 something against Alabama is the number one offense. Who would have thought? Hey, thanks for the subs, guys. Thanks for the subs. So, those are my thoughts on just the whole play, like the playoff semifinal as a whole. We'll see how the remainder of the games go. Like, again, I think Miami's defense against Ohio State, and the fact that nobody had them winning, and this is why I have a little bit of thoughts of how Ole Miss could be dangerous. Is nobody thought Miami was going to beat Ohio State. Well, I did, but everybody was kind of riding on the Buckeyes, and then look at what happened. They lost. So we'll just say, let me see. Is my music still going? Oh, okay, we're getting to the end, so we can restart that. Sick. We'll keep going. And then, one thing that I'm curious about is, can Oregon's defense be just as productive as they were against Texas Tech, against Indiana? We will see. That was one fun storyline that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit during this stream. What else? I wanted to talk about too. You got to talk about Ole Miss, and you got to talk about Trinidad. And so I think if Ole Miss loses to Miami, the reason will be because Chambliss doesn't have a good game. I think for Miami to win, they got to get after him. And if he does not have as productive of a game as he did, like how he did against Georgia, he's in the barn. Miami's winning that game. Because again, the defense is stout for Miami. Their front four has been dominant all year. And we looked at the stats, the defensive stats. If they can't get after it, they can't get after it. It's that simple. We'll see. And then, we already talked about that. So, anyways, guys, we'll, yeah. Now, let's get to some basketball news, shall we? Thank you guys for following along, because this is the big news that's coming out of the NBA right now, which is why I made this second part of the stream. So now we're going to transition over into the basketball segment and portion of the stream. So be sure to hit that like button, guys, if you're enjoying the stream. Let's talk some basketball, shall we? Let me minimize that a little more. Okay, here we go. Okay, I made, funny enough, which I might actually just repost the video. I predicted Trae Young leaving after the playoffs, because I don't remember I don't remember if Atlanta made the playoffs last year, which maybe they did. Let me Atlanta Hawks 2025 playoffs. Missed the playoffs for the second consecutive season in 2025. No, they made it in 2024 because they forced. No, they. Oh, whoa, okay. They participated in the play-in. I forgot. Then it must have been 2023 where Trae Young forced the Celtics. Yes. This is the one where Trae Young hit the three. Yes, right here. Yes. Where they forced a game 6. But yeah, I think I've made a video. I've made a video already on this about my thoughts and reactions to him leaving because I think I don't remember. Maybe he was doing what majority of players do when they get upset and disgruntled at an organization. Like they do cryptic tweets or stuff, or they unfollow everybody. He might have been doing that at the end of the season, but I think or something there was a reason why, because people were talking about Giannis. Go figure. People were talking about Giannis, Jokic, Cat, and who else were they talking about? Giannis, Cat, Trae Young, Butler, because people were wondering, is Jimmy Butler going to come back for Golden State? But these were the player, I think even Kyrie. Kyrie might have gotten in the mix. But we were talking about, okay, who is going to be on the trading block when we, wrap up the NBA Finals? Because, again, this happens every year. Now, I'll be honest, I think Damian Lillard was on it too. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I don't remember exactly where I said Trae Young would go. I think all I said was, hey, he's probably going to get traded. Because I think, funny enough, the other thing too is I think what cemented it too was, didn't the I called them the Falcons, my bad. Atlanta Falcons, Atlanta Hawks came, my bad. Didn't Atlanta have the worst record too, but they didn't get the number 1 overall? It ended up going to the Mavericks and they got Cooper Flag. And so I think because when they did have the top draft pick, they got somebody, which I know this sounds super disrespectful. I don't even remember who it was because it went like Banchero, Wemby, Anthony Edwards, the dude that Atlanta drafted, and then Cooper Flag. Like of the last 5 or 6, all these all-star players, and then the dude that got drafted by Atlanta. Which in fact I might as well look it up now because I don't remember, and I'm not gonna be a bum jig about it. Here we go. Falcon Hawks number 1 pick. I don't even remember his name. Yeah, okay. Yes. Which is he in the league still? He's number 1. Okay, clearly he's still in the league. But I mean, I think this was also when it was Purdue. It was the year Purdue went to the final because Zach Edey was on the board, and I think, hey, what would make and help Trae Young probably stay there is go get him a big, go get Zach Edey. But do they listen to me? No, they didn't. But yeah, okay, that makes. And then what year? This was the 24. Yes, okay. Yes, I'm starting to remember now. You know what? Actually, I do think he could get traded again by the deadline. Because I'm gonna be real honest with you. How you're talking about no one wants to go play for the Wizards. Nobody wants to go play for the Wizards. I think Westbrook, Porzingis. There was a running joke where, like, this is where we send you for the end of your career. Like, it's because Westbrook left the Rockets. No, he left the Lakers. The Lakers sent him to Washington, and then New York sent Porzingis to Washington as well. It's kind of the same in the same light as the Browns for the NFL in Cleveland, where it's like, okay, if you're being a little shit here, and you're being a headache, you're being a nuisance in the locker room, you know, the guys can't get behind you, you're being a terrible teammate. Where did they usually send those players? To the teams that are in the bottom of the league or the bottom of their own personal division. And because like Odell went out and said it, like the Giants purposely sent him there. Like there were talks too before Stephon Diggs went from Minnesota to the Bills. The Minnesota wanted to send him to Cleveland. And with your point on like, okay, could, you know, Trae Young get traded again before the trade deadline? Yeah, I think he could, because honestly, the Wizards could be a spot to put. Now, again, we don't know the full story. I haven't even looked into it, dude. I've been playing video games all afternoon. Shams could talk about it a little more here in this interview on what was actually going on. But yeah, if there was something that was going on in the facility to the point where it got to a situation where it's like quick turnaround within 24 hours, where it's like, okay, no, your ass is out of here. We're going to derail your career a little bit by sending you to Washington. Good luck go finding another team. Like, then yeah, something must have had to have happened where it got big enough where he was traded overnight. Because, I mean, dude, I have an old video that I haven't even posted yet of the rumors of Giannis getting traded, like 2 months ago in November, and I never posted it. And it's like, you know, the thought of Giannis getting traded is on the table like every week, but then it never happens. Nobody was talking about Trae Young getting traded, and then it happened. So I don't know, but let me see when the trade deadline is. It's in February, right? Yep. Okay. So then, this could. Well, let's see. You know, let's go look. Let's go look at the NBA a little bit. Let's go look at standings. You know, if I'm gonna be honest, because look the Hawks. Yeah, the 9 seed. They're not even. Yeah. You know what? You're talking me into it. I can see it, actually. I can see it now. Yeah, he's probably going to get traded again. He's not going to stay in Washington like Porzingis or Westbrook did. Maybe he does stay there with, because I know Jordan Poole's still on the team. Bagley, who else? Middleton. Yeah, I remember seeing this last year, and this made me go, "Whoa, what the hell?" Because I didn't think the Bucks would get rid of Middleton. Dude, where's Poole? Oh, did Poole get traded? Oh, I think Poole was a part of the trade. Let me go look. Let's go back to the Hawks roster. Jordan Poole. What the hell? I didn't know Porzingis was on the Hawks. But again, I haven't looked at the rosters yet. I haven't done my homework and studied up on the NBA. I've been too busy following basketball. Wait, where the hell is Jordan Poole then? Jordan. Oh, he's a Pelican. Hold on. Poole. I think he's a Pelican because yes, because because the other day, when the Pelicans played the Suns and there was that little brawl, he was in the background of the video. Yes, I'm starting to remember it now. Trae Young can't carry by himself. No, he can't. I agree with that. Trae Young is not a Jalen Brunson, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving type player. He's not there yet. Could he get there? Eventually, yeah, I think he could. But right now, no. No. Trae Young, this sounds hella disrespectful, and I don't mean it this way. Trae Young, I think, is at the same level where Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are. Where like the Celtics had a team, and they had their, like, it wasn't just Jason Tatum or Brown or Porzingis that won the championship that year. Like, it was a group effort. But then when you look at the other hand, I mean, yes, there were, Lively and then Kyrie and then Luka. Like, players had their certain games and moments, but like when people talk about it, people talk about like, oh, what got the Mavericks to the finals? Oh, it was all Kyrie. I mean, oh, it was all Luka, and then a little bit of help from Kyrie. Like, yeah, Trae doesn't have as much sway like how Curry does. He don't make his teammates shine. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't watched as much basketball as I should, and I haven't watched as much basketball as I should have this season. So I don't know I don't know his stats. I don't know nothing. I think I knew that CJ McCollum was on this team. Where's Trae Young? Shooting stats. I think, well, and then him, because I saw the report about how, his preferred destination was Washington. I think he's only saying that. This is what I was laughing at myself a little bit with earlier. I think he's only saying that to lighten the blow of, like, to get Wizards fans to be hyped. Like, oh yeah, he wanted to come. I don't think he wanted to go to Washington, but to soften the blow, I don't know. But 19 points, 1.5, okay. I mean, average, pretty decent sets. I think the breakout rookie from the 76ers has better stats, and I'm not talking Maxey. I'm talking, where is he? Oh, no, never mind. Their stats are around the same. Okay, never mind. I'll shut up. But when you look at the standings, because again, I haven't looked at the standings in a while. When you look at the standings, he goes from Atlanta to Washington. So we fast forward a little bit to February. Toronto might drop. Philadelphia might. I could see him probably going to Cleveland or not Boston. Not Boston, because again, the rival. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to Detroit. If he's going to New York is getting something in return. I mean, the Washington is getting something back, and because I don't think their core, they've already split up their core, so they don't give a damn. Maybe he could go. I could see him being a Sixer. But if I were to be honest, if he stays in the East, probably not Miami. Cleveland, Orlando, or Boston. No. Cleveland, Orlando, or Philly. He's probably going to go to one of these three teams. Because, yeah, to your point, I don't think he would sit on a team that is this many games back. I mean, they are 17 games back. They're not going to the postseason. They're not going to the play-in. And bringing on a dude like Trae Young, yeah, it's good for team morale and stuff. But, like, again, Trae Young's not going to help, them get X amount of wins, and help carry them from second to last in the East. Like, because like we know why the Pacers are here. We know why the Pacers have lost 13 straight. They are injury riddled team. Now, if we're talking San Antonio. He's going to San Antonio. No, I'm going to predict it right now from 3. Now I'm starting to remember the video I predicted. He's going to go to San Antonio. You give Wemby. Well, Castle might be up on the trading block. Let me think here. Because San Antonio ain't giving up. But they already got Fox. Fox to walk. Ooh, dude, I'd feel Castle or Fox would go. If Young comes to the Spurs, like they'd want something back. Or maybe they give up Harrison Barnes. Who else could they give up? Barnes, Harper. I don't know who they'd give up. I think that's what my prediction video was on. I think I said, hey, yeah, give Wemby a point guard to have that 1-2 punch. So he ends up going to Spurs. I don't think he'd go to Oklahoma. Too many stars in LA. Not enough room for him. If he went to Golden State, there goes Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler would go to Washington, which, no, please. Shit. I'm kind of stuck with him going to the 76ers, the Magic, or the Cavs. Because I don't know where he would go in the West. Because they're set. I say set loosely, like Jokic is injured. I do know that much. Again, you got LeBron, Reeves, Komet, Luka. Who's bringing the ball up top? Because if he goes to the Lakers, there goes Austin Reeves. Like, if he goes to Minnesota, I think there goes. Okay, I'll throw Minnesota in the mix. And who would they get back? Depth. They'd get depth. I could see them send Conley. Maybe no. Conley and Randall. Julius Randle and Conley for Trae Young. That'd be their package probably. If he goes to Minnesota. But I don't know if Trae Young has that much pull for him. Who knows? Okay, people. Let's see. Are we working here? Yeah, we're working. How are we looking? Chat coming through cleanly? Okay, chat's coming through cleanly. The polls, we're still at 55% thinking that Oregon's going to win the national championship. We will definitely see. We're creeping up on it. Oh my gosh, I lost track of time. Okay, guys. We are going to do a hard out here just because of what time it is. And considering what time it is and work and all that. Work and play and all that fun. Guys, we're going to end the stream here, though. People on the short end, hard out. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you guys know where to come back to. Shout out to you guys for the votes in the poll. Looks like the fan vote going to ride with the Ducks winning the national championship. So we'll see you guys in another stream. Be sure to hit that sub button so you guys know where to come back. I'll see you guys in another stream. All right.